This is the TBU Sportsnet. I'm Adam P. Ledyard here with head football coach. Preseason training on media day, coach. First of all, let's just talk about how the preseason has gone for you guys.
So far, it's been awesome. Our second day of pads today, we got a little wet. It was raining pretty good on us out there, but the thing I loved about was our kids' enthusiasm. We got out there and mixed it up, and the rain just kept coming down. And you kind of, whenever that happens, it's one of those deals where guys like hey, we want to go inside. So I didn't hear any of that. The guys were just static, and we're running a team screen drill on offense, and the offensive linemen are getting out there cutting the bag and sliding, and then the defensive guys see a ball on the ground, they're diving on it and working hard. And so I couldn't be more proud of our guys so far. I think we still got a long way to go with our conditioning level and to be able to last playing an entire game at the tempo that we want to play it at. But so far so good, and so we're just looking to build day by day, and we're not focused on September 3rd or focused on the future. We're just focused on getting better daily and daily progression.
Talk a little about your offense overall and then the quarterback competition that's going on right now.
Well, offensively, I've been the number one thing I've been pleased with offensively after the first 2 days is our ability to run the football. You're talking about a running back in Jordan McNeil, who's a 4-year guy, a downhill runner, just one of the most physical kids in our program. He won our Iron Tiger Award, our offseason award for just the hardest, basically it's your offseason MVP, and just for hard work and dedication, and that's the type of young man he is. He's hard to tackle. In addition to that, when you return all 5 of your offensive linemen in Tyler Scott, Torrance Leonard, Bryson Parker, Tony Jones, and C.J. McGill from a championship team, that's always a good thing. And so those guys will help that whoever that new starting quarterback is, help protect him and help pave the way in the run game. And even the two deep offensive line, those guys that have been in the system for a year or two now are really starting to rise and push those ones and make it a competition. And also we know that when we put them in the game, they'd be ready to go. So our ability to run the football has been great. I think our tempo's been solid. I think we can play faster. I don't think we're playing as fast as we could right now. And then the quarterback competition, that's always a big deal. You've got 8 guys right now that are on the roster, and all 8 are competing for it. Every single one of those guys has a chance at it. I think some guys have separated themselves, and then all of a sudden another guy will jump him. And so there hasn't been one guy that's just stuck out yet. But we're just getting into this thing. Just second day of pads today, and we're going to find out a lot through our scrimmages and through the coming practices. And there's going to be some separation at some point. But it's the deepest quarterback group I've coached. I've got a really tough decision to make because they're a really talented bunch. And in addition to that, our tight ends I think have played phenomenal. Jake Burton and Cody Gandy have done a great job, getting in the mix with our run game and catching the football. Then our receiving core has been, to me, steady so far. They've just been steady. They haven't made just the most spectacular plays that we expected to make yet, but I know those are coming. But they've been making the routine plays and working extremely hard. And again, one of the deepest receiving cores that Coach Highsmith and myself have had here since we've been here at ETBU.
Defensively, you pretty much got the entire defensive back. Lost some defensive linemen, but you got a senior coming back there. Talk how the defense is working together and getting ready for this year.
Yeah, those guys, yesterday we come out there and they force 6 turnovers, and that's what we got to be about on defense. It's not about the amount of yards that they give up, stuff like that. To me, I think the game has changed a lot to where, offenses are so good now that the yardage that you give up isn't indicative of the score of the game. It's more of how many turnovers did you create on defense. And so as long as we're taking the football away, that's great. And, you're talking about those defensive linemen starting with your senior Desmond Oliver, a kid from Denton Ryan High School, been in a great program. And, he's a nose for us, and he's been a fantastic player for us the past few years. And I expect him to have a big year, and he's been leading those guys up front. We got some really talented young D linemen that I feel really strong about. I think those guys are coming along great. In addition to that, our linebacking core, in my opinion, deeper than it's ever been. You look at starting at the outside linebacker spot with C.J. Johnson. C.J. being a freshman All-American last year, and what he's done on the field. He's just a presence, and he gets after the quarterback. He makes plays, and he's one of the hardest workers in our program. That's what a lot of people don't realize about C.J. is, he's a great player on Saturday, but he's a great player, Monday through Friday as well. He's a fantastic young man. And then you go on to Garrett Gibson, who led our team in tackles last year. Caleb Taylor was an All-ASC linebacker last year for us. And then Tramel Scott, Keanis Williams, Maya Simpson, Andre Welch. Andre Welch has been doing a fantastic job as well as an outside linebacker. I mean, that linebacker core, we could, Coach Smith kind of has his pick of the 4 he wants to go with because we're so deep. And then you go to the defensive backs, and you go to Dylan Bowman, from Gilmer, Texas, a kid that's just one of the hardest working kids in your program, hard-nosed kid, comes downhill, makes tackles, makes plays. Hardy Hill, who's been in the program, does everything we ask him to do. 3.0 GPA plus off the field, on the field. He's a phenomenal corner. And then on the other side of that, you've got some corners in Andrew Martinez-Perkins, who's really come on and made some strides, and Kendall Johnson, Brian Harden, all 3 of those guys been competing. Had a few freshmen step up and do some really good things back there. And then the other safety spot with Zach Biles, who's really come on and played well. And then Sam Williams, who was all-conference safety, led the conference in picks last year. He's one of the most talented safeties that I've been around, and I think the sky's the limit for him. So I love how we're gelling on defense. Coach Smith has those guys running to the football, attacking, and understanding details. And that's what we want to be about on the defensive side.
Talk about what your team is doing this year for Trey and DJ, the 2 players that passed away in the spring.
Yeah, so the first home game will be a dedication game for those guys, kind of a memorial game. We'll bring DJ and Trey's families back and have them at the game, and I think that's going to be a real special moment. In addition to that, we've been passing out wristbands that not only signify our team mantra and our team scripture verse this year, but also on the inside of that wristband has 12 and 96 and Tiger Family, and I think that's a really cool deal. And bottom line, every practice, every meeting, every game is going to be for those 2 guys, and I think all that kind of goes without saying with our kids. And the team chemistry this year so far, it's been outstanding. I've never seen a group as tight as this. I mean, and I've had the guys told me that over the summer, just how much they thought we grew in the spring together. And then obviously after the tragedy, I think we've come together as a Tiger family and an ETBU family, from people on the Hill all the way down here, just galvanizing together as one and understanding that in order to get through something as tragic as what happened with us and our team, that you got to have each other. You got to rely on the power of God, and you got to rely on Christ, and then you got to do it together. And I think that's what we've done. And this year will be no matter what, we're going to play our tail off. We're going to coach our tail off, and we're going to do everything in our power to glorify those 2 guys, glorify God, and glorify those 2 young men.
Final question: youngest coach in all of NCAA. What's that mean to you and for the program, and how does that make you feel overall?
Well, I mean, I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. As a coach, when I knew I wanted to coach, I knew one of my dreams, one of my goals is to be a head coach, and I did not think it would happen this early, and I'm extremely blessed for it to happen this early, and for me to be able to work at East Texas Baptist. I love working here. My wife and I love living in Marshall. It's a fantastic town, fantastic place. East Texas has been great to us. We've been able to meet some great people, great friends out here. But to be the youngest coach, while that's great and all, in all reality on Saturday it doesn't mean anything. It matters, our preparation. It matters. Our follow through with that. I've got to be organized and thorough, and I just want to pour into young men's lives and coach them to the best of my ability, and push our staff to coach them to the best of their ability, and we're gonna do our best to do that.
All right, Coach. Thanks for talking to us here on the ETV Sportsnet.